That, my friends, is a cheap DC to AC inverter I bought about 10 years ago. And it was supposed to be something that would sit in your coffee cup holder, and it has. And I've used it now for a long time. I just never really put a lot of weight on it. And it just finished charging up a battery for one of those Harbor Freight come to the rescue tools. They have their own internal brands, like you all know, and I have to get something to get these lug nuts off, and I ended up getting this thing right here. 20-volt lithium powered impact driver, rated at 450 foot-pounds, and I was like, was that going to pull those off or not? I don't know. So let's find out. Alright. And what I'm going to do, once I get this tire off here, because it's flat, is I'm going to anti-seize the heck out of those studs. This thing here performed perfectly. I think while I'm at it, I'm going to set this camera on the tire and I'm going to rattle those off right there so you can see it. And the question I had was, this 1.5 amp hour battery enough battery? Because you can get a 3 amp hour battery too with the same problem. But it's not about the trailer, it's about this. And this is a very, very handy tool for roadside assistance and roadside repair. It's going to be a regular traveling partner of mine, I think. That's it for now. So I got the larger 3 amp hour battery for this thing. This has been used for boat trailers, for the enclosed trailer, for a cedar, and now the hay mine had a flat tire. I gotta give a plug to a local company, Talmadge Tire. These guys have bailed me out so many times, and this was no exception. So I set this tire up in there and then use the impact driver to put it back together. You put this back and we'll fire up the jack. Take that thing off of there and see if we can straighten up this while we're at it. yet again. So these guys have bailed my ass out more times than I can count, both with the farm tractors and now the trucks and trailers. And this is Talmadge Tire in Cortland, New York. And I got to tell you something, if you ever need anything with a farm tractor or a commercial truck, this is the place. So anyway, there's really nothing like the Finger Lakes area in New York State. This is headed north on by one of the lakes. I should have got the camera out a little sooner because it was the view of the entire lake. Heading up to Colton again, and because of Talmadge Tire, I have a safe trailer. How's that? This thing just landed on my doorstep. Guy goes, geez, you know, made some noises in the top end and stopped. Like it to be fixed. And if you were to look at that cover, what do you think you have here? Well, what you have to understand is in this part of the world you have horsepower limited lakes. So this is a redneck solution to that. And I'm not really sure how much I want to get into this one. It's got some fairly significant issues, I do believe. Anyone seeing it yet? Does that look like a 25 horsepower Mercury to you? Or does that kind of look like a 40 horsepower Yamaha wrapped in Mariner clothes? In pretty rough condition, and that's just not even budging. So I think we ought to look for broken things in the block. I'm not sure how much I want to get into this one, but I need to run this thing for a little while. This is year 4 on this machine, I do believe, and the only thing I've had to do on this is replace a belt, change oil, and sharpen the blades. This is a Big Dog Stout, which is the top of the line for the residential models, and it has not quite pro level componentry. It's got the Hydro Gear hydraulic motors, and actually they are at the low end of what you would expect on a pro level machine, but the motor doesn't have the filtration system that the pro machines typically have, and not quite the horsepower. It's like 23 horsepower, but it's been a very good machine. I have absolutely no complaints, and I may upgrade it at some point, but I don't think I will get rid of the machine. I think what I do is put one of the spring seats on it, because there's an option for that. When I do other people's lawns, not my own, but when I do others, it'd be nice to have a little softer ride at my advanced age, which gets into that whole discussion of Ferris versus the world. You know, Exmark and Ferris and Hustler, which is really the manufacturer of the Big Dog. Big Dog is really just a red Hustler. They all have models that have varying levels of suspension, and you know, I really never saw the need for any of that until I started doing somebody else's front lawn that has a bunch of holes. And I'll tell you what, something to soften the blow might make a little sense now, where it didn't and hasn't when I've been doing my own lawn. So anyway, I'm going to go do some mowing. think it's probably feeding the birds more than anything else. One more time. One more time. That's the definition of a good day right there. Well, I'm not sure it's going to be able to do this. These have been rusted on for quite some time. And this is the tire off the backhoe. And where I want to go with this whole discussion is with stuff like this. You know, we get all brand and number driven on how to buy these things. And the one thing I ran into was I was upstate New York and I was looking to add some batteries to my Makitas, right? I went around to the different stores and asked if they carried the Makita brand, and nobody did. So I ended up with these. What was the genesis of these? So this actually turned out to be better than the Makita for that application. You know why? It's because there's local support. So after all the numbers and bits and bytes and, you know, all the crap that people talk about trying to measure whether or not these are good or bad or one's better than the other, ultimately the one that works is the best. And works is one of those words that has a lot of different connotations, and in some cases works means that you can get the bits and pieces and accessories to get a job done. So ultimately, to me, the best tool of this type that you can buy is the one that actually works and gets the job done. Simple as that. No more, no less. Not the most foot-pounds, not the lowest price, you know, but the total concept of start to finish, can you get a job done? Are there parts? Is there support? You know, that's what makes it a good selection for a person buying stuff like that. Does it work? This is one of those Harbor Freight lights. It has the 3 amp hour battery. You know what I think about these Makitas? I think they're awesome. These are alright, you know, a little chunky, a little heavy, but they work pretty good. But I think the point of this whole exercise and what I was trying to get to is you can overanalyze on this stuff, you know, to get the lightest and most powerful and all the specs and that kind of crap. The bottom line is if they work. Don't overanalyze on spec sheets. You got to look at the whole picture. And sometimes a lesser brand can actually be the better option when you consider all the different factors of what the definition of success is. So that's my point. Talk to you later. Bye for now.